Welcome, 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 welcome. Come on in, come on in. Welcome to this episode. Welcome to this episode. Welcome, come on in, welcome on in. Welcome to Football Madness. On this week episode on Football Madness, I will be prescribing the players that your club need to succeed and compete at the top level of European football this season. So, starting with Arsenal, last season Arsenal had a good team, but there were some key players short. So starting from their defense, I will be prescribing a left back to Arsenal because I felt like Arsenal left back position was their weak link. So yesterday, Arsenal pick up Calafiori. I feel like that's a great signing. So I prescribe a tablet of Calafiori to Arsenal. He will do a great job for them. He will cover the left back position and sometimes he could play as the left center back for them. So that's a good signing. In the midfield position, I want to prescribe two those of center midfielder for Arsenal. Either one or two. Arsenal could pick up one or two. So from these key players I will be listing, Arsenal can look towards Richard Rios from Colombia, 24 years old, young guy, can do a great job for them. They could look to Benfica, Portugal. There's a guy called Neves there, 19 years old, young lad. He would do a great job for them too. Or they could look to Kimmich for experience. Kimmich at Bayern Munich is in the last year of his contract. Bayern Munich will be looking to offload him for a low price. Arsenal can look to that player. Kimi can come in and do a good job for them. I would have prescribed Onana for them, but Onana is on his way to Aston Villa, so Arsenal can give up on that one. I feel like he would have done a great job for Arsenal too. And also, Arsenal need to get a striker, so I'll be prescribing a striker to them. So Arsenal need to look at a player like Victor Boniface at Bayer Leverkusen, a young player, 22, 23 years old. He could come in, great first touch, good on the ball, skillful, physical, can hold up the ball. So that's a player Arsenal can look to for their striker. Look away from Victor Osimhen. I don't think Osimhen will be a good fit for Arsenal. It will be better fit for PSG or Chelsea. But for Arsenal that like to play the touching football, touch, goal, passing football, Boniface is the better fit. Yeah, Boniface is the better fit for Arsenal. And I feel like Arsenal also should get a winger, the one that could play both right and left wing. So a player like Nico Williams, a player um like Neto at Wolves, yeah, Wolves could do a job in that right or left wing. So one of those two players, Arsenal can pick them up. I'm sure Wolves will be looking to let Neto go for a good price. So and Nico Williams too, either 50 to 60, something like that we could get on the winger. So that would be good. So for Real Madrid, all Real Madrid need this season to complete their team are defenders, center back and left back. That is the only two positions Real Madrid need to fill up this season. Real Madrid is already a great team. We saw them won the Spanish league, won the Champions League last season. They need to downsize. For center back, a dose of William Saliba, a tablet of Jonathan Tah, or a pill of Marquinhos. That's my prescription for their center back position. All they need is one of those center back to come in. And for the left back position, Madrid need to look towards Alfonso Davies, very fast. He can go up and down that left line. Theo Hernandez, very technical, good on the ball. Will create a lot of chances for Real Madrid players, especially now that they are bringing in Mbappe and Hendrick. They will need players that can create from both the left and right back position. And Theo Hernandez is great at that. Also, a player like Ronaldo, very good for Bayer Leverkusen last season. That's a player they could also look to bring in the left back position. So that's good. For Manchester City today, I'll be prescribing them a right back, a center mid, a goalkeeper, just in case Ederson leaves to Saudi Arabia, and a right winger. In the right winger position, Manchester City already signed Savinho, so the right winger position is already taken care of. I prescribed them a dose of Savinho because that's a good player, so that's a good call. So I like that player for Manchester City. For the right back position, a player like Molina, a player like Van der Steen, a player like Gratudia, and a player like Frimpong. One in those four players highly prescribed to Manchester City. Manchester City need to pick up one of those players for that right back position. For the center mid position, they could look at Kimmich, Fabian Ruiz. Those are two players with a lot of experience in football. They could look at a player like Musiala, a player like Dani Almo could also do a job in the center mid for Manchester City. So one of those four players highly recommended. I'm prescribing those players to Manchester City today. And for the goalkeeper position, if Ederson end up leaving to Saudi Arabia, they could go to Real Madrid and sign a player in Andre Lunin. Very good goalkeeper for Real Madrid last season. Stepped up when Thibaut Courtois was injured. So that is my prescription to Manchester City. Manchester United. Manchester United. See, this is a hard one to do because Manchester United need a lot of help. I had to go back to school to check all my medical book for this one. Manchester United need a lot of help. Starting from the position of centre back, they already brought in Euro, so that's a good signing. Now they need to sign in one more centre back, so I'm prescribing delete. I prescribe them a dose of delete, yes. For the position of centre mid, yes, Manchester United need a centre mid player. A player that can do a job for them, either coming up from the bench or a starter. They could look to a player like Xavi Simon. PSG is ready to sell. Go to PSG and tell PSG to sell you Xavi Simon, yes. And in the DM position, I highly recommend a dose of Ugarte. If not, they could look at Fofana, or they could better still, they could look at a player like Kamara in Aston Villa. It was good for Aston Villa last season. You see Aston Villa made the Champions League, so either Kamara, Fofana, or Ugarte, one in those three players would do a good job for Manchester United in the DM position. And also, we saw them bring in Joshua Zirkzee as a striker. So the striker position is already filled, so that is good for them. They already have good striker. Then in the left back position, they could look to bring in a player like Raum in Leipzig. They could bring in a player like Robinson in Fulham. He could do a good job for them in the left back position. Or they could look better still, they could bring in Maximiliano Middelster. That's a good player in Stuttgart. He can do a good job for them too. So one of those three left back, highly recommended. I am prescribing these players to Manchester United. For Liverpool, I'm prescribing Liverpool a dose of centre back, DM, and a player that could play both right wing and left wing. Just three good players that could come in and change Liverpool from a contender to a winner. So if you look at the centre back position, Liverpool need to look towards a player like Castillo Lukemba. That is a player from Leipzig, 21-year-old young player that can come in and play both left back and left centre back. Also, if they don't want to look towards Castillo, they can look also towards Piero Nkape. That is a player in Bayern Leverkusen that can come in, another young player that can play both left back and left centre back. In the DM position, Bruno Guimaraes at Newcastle, that is a player they can look at for the DM position. Or they could look at a player like Rio Richard. That is another one from Palmeiras that plays for Colombia 2 national team. That is one of those two players can step in a DM position for Liverpool and do a great job. And for a player that could play both right wing and left wing, this goes two ways. If Liverpool are looking to spend money this summer, Liverpool need to look no further than Kvaratskhelia. Or they look at a player like Leo in AC Milan, or they could look at Rodrigo at Real Madrid. That is if Liverpool are looking to spend money. Either Kvaratskhelia in Napoli, Leo at AC Milan, or Rodrigo at Real Madrid. These three players could change Liverpool's season. If they could sign any one of these three players to play either the right wing or left wing position for Liverpool, that's if they are looking to spend. And if Liverpool is looking to be cheap and they don't want to spend, they could look at a player like Bakayoko, they could look at a player like Neto, or they could look at a player like Frimpong. These are on the cheap side. If Liverpool wants to be cheap this summer, that is my prescription for Liverpool this summer. FC Barcelona this season have the hardest task in football. They have to overcome the hardest challenge, the hardest difficulty, which is Madrid this season. So we have to help them. So as the good doctor, I am here to save Barcelona's season. Barcelona need to look to sign a centre back, a left back, a central mid, a left winger, and a striker. 5 key positions. So for the centre back position, starting from the centre back position, in the centre back position, Barcelona need to look towards Edmond Tapsoba, yeah, or they could look at Piero Hincapié, or better still, they could look at Castillo Lukemba. Those three players, one of those three players could play that centre back for them, and they should look to sign one of those three players for centre back. For the left back, they could go to Tottenham and sign Udogie, or they could go to West Ham for the centre mid and sign Paqueta. They could go to Club Atletico and sign Nico Williams for the left wing, and they need to go to Manchester City. I think Manchester City is ready to offload Alvarez, so they could go to Manchester City and sign Julian Alvarez. We all know at Manchester City, Haaland is always going to start. Alvarez is either going to come in or start alongside Haaland, but Haaland is not sitting on the bench for Alvarez, so they could go to Manchester City and sign Alvarez. Barcelona need to sign these 5 pivotal players, 5 players in this 5 position in order to challenge Real Madrid. It won't be easy for them. They have the hardest task in football, the hardest challenge in football, stopping this Real Madrid team. Last but not the least, Chelsea. You see, for Chelsea do not need to sign any more players. The only thing Chelsea need to do now, going forward, is to offload players. Chelsea has signed so many players, I can't even keep up with their names anymore. The Dreadlock United. It looks like they're just looking for any player with dreadlock or hair. That's it. So for Chelsea now going forward, all you need to do is train, develop a team, train, bond the team bonding, team chemistry, just develop it. Like you should. Going forward now, sign nobody else. Yes, you do not need it. Just offload and build a team. Team boundary, team chemistry, just do that going forward. No more signing for Chelsea. Yeah, no more signing. You see, but as the good doctor that I am, let me not leave Chelsea hanging. Let me give them 1 or 2 players just to make Chelsea fans happy. In the goalkeeper position, yeah, that's a position Chelsea need to upgrade. Chelsea need to upgrade their goalkeeper. So if they could go to Real Madrid and sign Andre Lunin, that would be good for them. And for the striker position, they could look to bring in Victor Osimhen. Apart from those 2 players, Chelsea do not sign any more players. Chelsea, do not sign any more players. No. Do not sign any more players. It is over. Close down your window. No more players for you guys, Chelsea. That's it. Thank you for coming to this episode of Football Madness. I really appreciate your support. Please remember to like, remember to subscribe, remember to share. Share with your friend that has a friend that also have a friend. Share with your family members. Share with your friend, your uncles, your aunties. Let us introduce them to Football Madness. Yes. Thank you for coming once again, and I will see you next week on another episode of Football Madness. Till we meet again. But also, I want you guys to remember, it is not personal, it is just football. It is not personal, it is just football.